So by this point, everybody, I'm sure, has seen the new Valve hardware that's been announced, and I think it looks really cool. I'm really excited personally for the controller. First and foremost is probably what I'm going to be buying, and maybe the VR headset. But I'm really excited for the Steam Machine, what it could represent for shifts in the gaming market and shifts in the power structure of companies in the gaming market. A lot of people are saying that they're concerned that the Steam Machine is going to be too weak, with only 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and I'm pretty sure the custom GPU is supposed to be somewhere around a 7600, the AMD GPU in performance. A lot of people are concerned that this fucking hell. Okay. A lot of people are concerned that the Steam Machine might be too weak compared to what is expected of modern gaming PCs, but according to Valve's own hardware survey, it's still better than what 70% of the people on Steam are using. So if you're already in the top 30% anyway, you're probably not going to buy a pre-built gaming machine. This is really a good way for people who have been primarily gaming on consoles to enter the PC market and get access to the freedom of the user experience of PC and the freedom to use the peripherals you want without having to worry about potentially messing something up from putting the console together yourself, or buying a dodgy pre-built from some brand online that you get there and the GPU is unseated and it wasn't packaged properly. And Valve already has the goodwill and reputation that they've built from the user experience and build quality that we've already seen on the Steam Deck. And, so you can expect a similar precedent with this new machine. And because the Steam Machine is going to be running on the same operating system as the Steam Deck, there's a ton of support officially from Valve that's just been added over time that they're building off of, that's just going to be day one plugged in, right available on the Steam Machine. And also third-party or homebrew applications that are made by other people, whoever, like Emu Deck, for example, is a great application that installs and configures basically any emulator you could want for the Steam Deck. It sets up the directories, it already maps all the controls for you. So all you have to do is find the system BIOS softwares and the ROMs, and you can just drag and drop, and it's a really painless experience compared to trying to, when I had to saw open my PSP battery to flash the BIOS so I could install custom firmware, and then it was a mess, and now you don't have to do that. Another great thing about the Steam Machine that I think will get console players to move over to is that, similar to how games are more easily optimized on consoles because they have the same hardware, because Steam Deck is the most popular PC handheld, a lot of developers have been optimizing their games with a special Steam Deck version. Like Cyberpunk 2077, you can, with some fiddling around, get it to run, 45 FPS, pretty good performance. AC Shadows has a Steam Deck version also that when you boot it up, it just runs in Steam Deck compatibility mode. And again, I think a lot of these features we could see coming to the Steam Machine, where if enough people adopt it, developers are just going to make sure that the game is optimized to be able to run on this hardware. Another thing that's interesting is that, obviously people cite the failed attempt to make a Steam Machine in the past, but I think that was maybe 2012 or 2013, and the gaming market has shifted a lot towards then, where less from a model of ownership and more of a subscription-based, you'll own nothing kind of vibe. And Valve, I mean, obviously you still just own the game licenses, but the fact that you can get on to Steam and you can play the games without having to have a persistent subscription is a huge value add for people that, Game Pass just raised the price, PSN is expensive, and the fact that you have to pay this other company more to use your own internet that you're already paying your ISP for to access the service. Like, understandably, they sell these consoles at a loss, so they're making their money back with subscriptions. Most likely, the Steam Machine is going to be more expensive than even, I would say, the PS5 Pro. Like, my guess is probably somewhere around $800, $900, I think is a fair estimate for that device. But however, like I said, Valve needs to make back the money on the console. You're paying more upfront for a better user experience in the long run, and not having to, like I said, have these persistent memberships and subscriptions. And you also, because it's an open source Linux-based device, if you don't like SteamOS, you can put Bazite, you can even put Windows. If you like your operating system, you can keep it. And I feel like as time goes on, people are getting more and more angry and fed up with the walled garden that a lot of these tech companies build with their products, where if you buy a headset for your PlayStation, it can't work on an Xbox, but then they have a different wireless headset that works on your Xbox but not on your PlayStation. With the Steam Machine, you could use an Xbox controller, a PlayStation headset. You can install whatever emulators so you can back up your games, and you don't have to do the thing where Nintendo sells you Ocarina of Time for the 10th time in a row. You can just play your backups and your emulators. And I think that, like, giving console players who are not used to, like, this level of freedom over their device, like, you can see it now, there's a huge popularity of PSPs and Vitas and 3DSs among, younger Gen Z and Gen Y people, because these devices are old enough that they don't have, you can modify them pretty easily, and basically you can do a lot of the stuff you can do on the Steam Deck, but cheaper. But if you can take this and you can make it more accessible and democratize it a bit, it'll be a lot better for consumers in the gaming market in the long run. And that's kind of getting to, like, my main overarching point is that, well, I think the short-term success of the Steam Machine will be to erode market share from Xbox and Microsoft. Kind of like what I was talking about, Valve has been investing more money into making Linux better, as far as, like, Proton, the program that, I believe it's the program that makes Windows applications run on Linux. I'm not the biggest Linux person, so don't crucify me. But since the Steam Deck came out to now, compatibility has been improved a lot, because it's like, Linux is open sourced, so anybody can make anything for it, like a program, or, like, modify things, make their own operating system. But then also, because this is open source, but it's being developed by Valve also, they're investing money into it. So as the popularity and adoption of Linux-based gaming devices grows, the financial incentive to improve the user experience for Linux products grows, right? And so Valve is kind of creating this incentive for other companies to kind of move away from Windows-based products, where you can see they came out with the Xbox Rogue Ally, and it looks decent. It's more powerful than the Steam Deck, but the user interface is a lot worse. Sleeping and waking the device is a lot worse. You hear people talking about, oh, this thing has just been on in my book bag, and now it's like 80 fucking degrees and it burns my hand when I touch it. The Steam Deck does not have those problems, because it has, like, a bespoke operating system made from the ground up and optimized for gaming. It's not like they're taking Windows and kind of trying to, like, retrofit it to work on a handheld gaming device, where they have their Xbox overlay, or whatever they're calling it now, but it's not as good as all the Steam features that they have, where you can just get into the menu, everything is quick, it's easy to use, and all of that is just, all the work that they've done building on the Steam Deck is just going straight to the Steam Machine. And that's the optimism that I have, is that the more people that get on these Steam-based devices and buy into this ecosystem, the more potential we have for a free, Linux-based operating system that doesn't fucking suck, that can replace Windows, because I'm tired of the fucking cloud shit. I'm tired of the AI shit. Nobody wants these features. We just want like a something that can run our games, store our files. I don't want you to put my shit in the fucking one cloud. I want it on my hard drive, on my desktop, on the computer that I bought, you know? And we kind of let Microsoft have this sort of monopolistic power. I mean, I know Apple is out there, but for gaming, you know, Microsoft, if you want to game on PC, up until very recently, it's like there was no alternative besides Microsoft, or just not playing a vast majority of games that, let's face it, if you like games, you're going to want to play a lot of these games. And like, I mean, Mac gaming, I guess, has gotten better in the last few years. I don't own a Mac, so I wouldn't know. But it fucking sucks, you know? Like, if you buy a new motherboard or CPU or whatever, then your Windows license doesn't transfer and you got to buy a new one. And then, oh, that's $100, or you can find a gray market key or whatever. But it's nice to not have to fucking do that. You know, it would be nice if I could just build my PC and put a Linux distro on there that I don't have to pay for. And that future, I feel like, is possible if enough people can kind of invest in this project and buy into this ecosystem. And like, in the way that the tech world just increasingly becomes a representation of just like this neo-aristocracy and just consolidation of political power, where you have people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, who co-founded PayPal, are now have like immense sway and control over American politics and American business, with like Facebook, OpenAI, fucking JD Vance, Donald Trump. And then, like, speaking of Donald Trump, the Kushner family and like the board of Saudi investors buying EA, and Nvidia's working with Palantir. Like, this shit sucks and it's depressing, and it's just nice. I mean, I'm not trying to glaze Valve. Like, I know Gabe Newell's like a libertarian. He's not a socialist, and he just cruises around in his yacht. But like, I think we gotta kind of take what we can get here. And the fact that, like, even if he's just like, I'm making the product that I would want to have, and that's his motivation, it's like, this is a opportunity for people who, all these things that people have been talking about for so long, with like right to repair, you know, just having ownership over your devices, you know, Steam can't fucking brick this thing if you install Bazite instead of SteamOS. It just, you have the freedom to use your shit the way you want it. And if consumers can speak up and be like, this is something that we want, it could be a welcome disruption to like a gaming industry that has just gone kind of stagnant, I feel like. But that's what I think. If you have some thoughts, let me know what you think.